This game was made by a single person and it's incredible. The visuals, the gameplay, the depth and customization are what I would call a small studio's level of production quality. But this isn't made by a studio, just one guy. And I think this shows that we've truly entered a new realm of game development, where an individual can create an entire experience without compromising their vision for any publisher or even co-workers in this case. Doku, the sole developer behind Out of Action, was kind enough to set up a private play session for me and a few others to test out this very early version of the game. What you're seeing now isn't even an early access build, but instead something he literally compiled that morning and shared the keys so that we could join in the server and learn how to parkour our way around the game. Out of Action is a casual competitive FPS that brings some of my favorite genres and concepts together. Styling cues from the 90s era animes like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and Jinro can be seen throughout the levels, characters, and weapons. And despite certain things being placeholders at the moment, such as the weapon models, the cell shading style will remain for the characters, weapons, and other interactables. The styling really does make it feel like you're kind of playing an anime. Gameplay-wise, there's influences from The Specialist, which is an older Half-Life mod which kind of allowed you to be Neo from the Matrix jumping around in bullet time, Action Half-Life, Neo Tokyo, and Blacklight Retribution, which enabled sort of wall hacking style abilities in the game. And Out of Action definitely features a lot of cyber war type abilities such as temporary wall hacks, cloaking, jamming devices, and even ammo that can track targets once you tag them. How about ammo that causes cerebral overloads to a shell, causing its head to, well, explode. Movement-wise, there's extreme diving abilities, cartwheeling, sliding, and even a slow-mo mode that allows players who activated it to fire faster than their opponents for a short period of time. You can be a stealth samurai sword wielder or a tank with wall hacks and a minigun. And for the most part, all of these gameplay styles really work and give you a huge amount of flexibility. Now, getting back to this whole shells concept, a la Ghost in the Shell, the characters, or rather bodies that you're playing, are just that. Bodies that your digital or projected self inhabit. You can actually swap between different ones with different stats and abilities. The Rhino Shell is slow, it has extra health, and can't be knocked down by some of the combat abilities, while the Ghost Shell is fast and it gives you a cloak that's pretty much always active aside from when you're shooting and doing certain activities. However, it does suffer from extremely low health to keep it more balanced. Beyond the multiple shells, you can also customize your melee weapon, sidearm, primary, 2 perks, and 2 devices such as grenades or active abilities. Some of the perks can actually unlock new weapon selections, ammo choices, and even increase the number of devices or weapon attachments. This really opens up the customization, and honestly, the customization is extremely deep, more so than most shooters, let alone indie shooters. And at first, I'll be honest, I was thinking that it might be a bit too much and that it would be hard to sort of wrap your head around as a new player just getting into the game. But the more I played, the more I realized that it really just allows you to create all these crazy classes that play exactly how you want to play, or experiment with different playstyles that you've never thought of before. And in my time playing, I definitely stumbled across some very effective kits while just messing around with different ideas, such as a stealth grenade launcher class. Who doesn't want to sneak around and fire insanely powerful grenades into your opponents when they least expect it? Or how about an auto shotgun with specialty tracking ammo that has all the pellets seeking their target after landing a single shot on them? Tracking buckshot is something that I haven't seen in a game before, but now that I have, I'm kind of hooked to the concept. You can also run with the Akimbo perk and wield dual sidearms while sacrificing your primary weapon, and if you take out the sword, it'll allow you to literally block bullets by holding right click. Swords can also block other sword attacks, and there's even charge up and light attacks to give you actual depth to sword melee combat. I couldn't decide if it was more fun being a cloaked samurai or just wielding a rocket launcher and blowing my enemies to smithereens. And that's one of the biggest benefits of Out of Action, is just having so much creativity in how you approach the game. And of course, if you just want to keep the gameplay more traditional, a basic fully automatic weapon and standard grenades are still very effective. Now for this play session, we were just playing one level and one mode, so it's a pretty narrow showcasing of what's ultimately planned for the game. And speaking with Doku, there's also going to be mission-based modes with teams as opposed to just pure TDM. And apparently they've already been testing these modes out, they just weren't in the build that we played. And he also mentioned that loadout customization gets way more interesting in these modes since you can synergize them with teammates and things like that. And learning more about Doku, he's an industry veteran who started working professionally on games when he was just 17 years old, and now he has 20 plus years of experience in the industry, including credits such as being a character artist and lighting artist on Alien Isolation. And you may have even bought some of his PlanetSide 2 cosmetics, which are in the marketplace. Now, he's been working on Out of Action for several years as a side project, but recently decided to go full time with it so that he can put in the work required to ship it as a complete game. It's being built in the Unreal Engine, which is giving him many tools to design the game using the blueprint system rather than having to hand code things out, since he's more of an artist than a coder. Though apparently getting the slow-mo function to work in the game did require some C+ coding, but otherwise he's been able to harness his knowledge of the incredibly powerful Unreal Engine to build out the entire game based on what he enjoys. And I personally find it incredibly inspiring to see somebody do what he's doing at such a high level. And obviously Doku is a very impressive individual. He's artistically very talented, he's stupidly good at first-person shooters, like actually playing the games, and he's learned how to make an entire game from the ground up in the Unreal Engine. Frankly, there's just not a lot of people out there that can operate at his level in so many different important areas of game design. That said, there are some, and I would imagine that we're going to be seeing more people with this skill set start to pop up, especially as these engines become so much more powerful and enable artists who have limited programming skills to really design a game from the ground up. Doku is making a game kind of like a writer writes a book, a sole vision from start to finish developed by one person. Only in my opinion, it's more impressive considering the sheer volume of work and skill set required to complete a project like this. I wish him all the luck in the world and will be laser focused on the development of this project and can't wait to play it when it comes out. Now you can wishlist this game on Steam if you're interested, or become a Patreon supporter to help support the development of this game. I've personally become really impressed, even obsessed with certain small indie projects these days, 1 and 2 man teams building out an entire world that seems on par with what small studios have done before, and as long as design choices are made cleverly, a lot can be done without needing to generate a huge amount of additional content on the side or engage high-level programming and whatnot. There's just so many options available to developers these days. Let me know what you guys think about this game in the comments and the whole project in general. Also, check out my recent deep dive into the world of boomer shooters next, as many of those were also created by a single dev or 2-man dev teams. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.